Leos, December's energy is here. It is time to strut your stuff and preen your feathers. Let's have an aligned astro chat about it. Hello all, Stacy the Black Feather Intuitive, and welcome to your Transformational Tarot for December. Luscious, luscious Leos. I can't believe we are already here, last month of 2025. Every year since COVID has been its own special shit show, and 2025 has not disappointed in that, following that particular trend. Glad that I'm here. Glad that you're here, even if we're all just kind of like hanging on by a thread. It's important to focus on the fact that we are here. And I love your message about the peacock, strutting your feathers, preening your feathers, strutting your stuff. So let's see what the guides are meaning about all of that. We are going to be pulling an overarching theme for your reading from the Sweet Ass Affirmations 2 by Rage Create. And then the card deck that called to me today is the New Era Elements Tarot. This is by Eleanor F. Piper. So without further ado, let's get to it. Alrighty. So I think with that peacock energy and, preening your feathers, strutting your stuff, it's kind of like preparing you for really being able to be seen and heard in ways that are more aligned with the person that you're becoming. I feel like as a result of what you've learned in 2025, what you're shedding and releasing in 2025, and the room that you're creating for new experiences and new aspects of yourself to come through. So let's see what the card has to say. I drink libations of high vibrations. I love that. And there's an octopus on the urn, on the cup. So feeling very much here that this makes a lot of sense. You're having to clear away the old. You're having to acknowledge, the struggles, the triumphs and the challenges that have kind of plagued you this year. Now it's time, and you don't need to be psychic to know that December is a time when a lot of people go through a, sort of a reflection period, getting, prepared for the next year. But this is specifically to you guys. It is about you recognizing what you really can't take with you or what you shouldn't take with you, because the goal here is to create as much room as possible for only high vibration, for only the good. And I'm going to say, spoiler alert, it's all good. It's about our perception. It's about our choices. I also am feeling here that there's a literal component to this as well. Paying attention to what you're taking into the body. If we're eating richer, denser, heavier foods that take a lot of work and effort from the body and energy from the body to process those foods, it's going to slow us down. Drinking things that lower our vibrations, it's going to slow us down. So I feel that there's a physical message in this as well for some of you Leos, that it's also about really paying attention to what you're putting into the body. My body is my temple. And so how am I treating that temple? If I am clearing out the old and making room for fresh and new and high and light, I also need to prepare the body for that level of, I want to say, support, to create a supportive container, if that makes sense. Okay, so now we are going to, I'm just going to adjust the camera a little bit here. We are discussing right now you in the present moment, where you are right now in your transformational journey. What part of you is shifting, rising, or dissolving? So we have the Three of Pentacles here, work. And I feel like, this is typically a card of collaboration. It is a card that I want to say indicates paying attention to the detail. Also, when we are looking at it from that, I want to say that perspective of collaboration and detail, it's understanding that we don't, it takes a village. That's what I'm trying to spit out. It takes a village. And I feel like for you right now, there have been a lot of people, you've needed to rely on people. There have been a lot of people that have kind of come into your life. Maybe you've needed some extra help, some extra support in certain things. Maybe you've been creating something at work that has required, a small team of individuals. Now I see what's sort of transpiring for you is kind of taking back some of those things, like not so much needing all these people, places, and things around you. It's kind of like, okay, now you got me to this level. Now let me sort of spread my wings and fly. Let me take it a little bit from here and see how I'm able to grow. It's important for you now to be paying attention to the details of things. So, I mean, this could be, in the what's dying away sort of position of the card as well, or a position of the reading as well. But I am feeling here that it's an acknowledgement of all of the people, places, and things that have supported you. And you're also getting ready to, I want to say, kind of rise out of that and be able to learn to walk with your new feet, right? With your new legs. Learn to breathe this air with your new nose. It's really about, in many ways, I feel like a phoenix rising kind of energy where you're having to get to know this new version of you, this new body that you've got, this new mental approach, this new emotional capacity. I feel like that's really important. It's kind of like what we were talking about here with creating space for the new to come in. I feel like this is helping you to rise. You're shifting out of needing so much help and support, and you're rising now into, okay, what can I now do with all of this foundation or this information or with these details? There are times, I'll be surprised if the Hermit card does not come up for you in this reading, because I feel like what's transpiring now for you here is a little bit of that kind of hermity energy of, you can't take the journey with me. You can support me while I'm on the journey, but the Hermit's journey is a deeply personal, intimate journey into the self. And no one can know you or go into you in the way that you can, right? So I feel like there's a lot of that energy that's coming up here. Catalyst, what's fueling or hindering your transformation? Is this resistance or rocket fuel? Interesting. So torment. So this is the Five of Pentacles. Wow. So I feel like you've been feeling a bit trapped in your body. I really don't like this image. It disturbs me because it's like a monkey that's being experimented on, right? And the monkey doesn't want to be the experiment. The monkey doesn't want to be the victim. The monkey wants to be free. And I feel like this is your catalyst. You're tired of, playing the monkey for others' amusements, or you're tired of feeling trapped in your body, or being at the mercy of your moods, your emotions. Maybe you've been going through some, depressive energy and you're just tired of feeling depressed, right? I feel like the catalyst is coming through here to really help you to move forward. It's a five. Five is transformation. It's shift. It's change. It's conflict. We need conflict and friction in order to be able to catapult us into the next level. And so I do feel that you are really wanting to put an end to whatever this form of torment has been for you, and step now fully into I'm done being the circus monkey. I'm done performing for your amusement. I am going to work for myself, right? I'm going to do these things for myself. Again, shifting out of needing the support, needing, extra guidance or whatever. It is not that that's a bad thing. You're just moving into something different. And the catalyst is about, I don't want to feel trapped anymore. I don't want to feel experimented on. I want my freedom. I want my freedom. Interesting. Deep root. What deep belief, wound, or soul contract is driving this transformation under the surface? Interesting. Ace of Earth. So Ace of Pentacles. So I feel like several months ago, you had an opportunity, and I don't know if this is like, for, it's a general reading. So for some of you Leos, it was an obvious opportunity, like something that someone tangibly was handing to you. And for some of you, I feel it was a more internal opportunity to make a shift, to make a change. It feels like something that you really wanted to say yes to, but there was almost like something that was holding you back, whether it was a self-confidence thing, lack of confidence thing. Maybe it was an energy thing. You just didn't feel like you had the energy to invest in it. Maybe you did not feel that you were worthy of it, or it had never occurred to you that that could be something you could do. Whatever this is, I'm seeing that this coming up right now as the deep wound for your month, and the way that you're going to be transforming this month is because that seed is still there. It's still planted. And I feel like it was probably planted by somebody else. But that doesn't mean that you have to use it in the way or with the intention that the other person who planted it intended. How many times I'm seeing those palindrome poetry, poems, where you read all the negative sentences and then you read it back to front, and you read it in reverse, and it's the positive and the negative, right? Like, it completely changes the tone and the mood and the message of the sentence, right? Of the poem itself. That's what I'm feeling here. It's like somebody or something got under your skin, said some things that subconsciously have been, maybe informing you, or encouraging you to make decisions or choices that aren't necessarily for your highest and best, or maybe aren't based in truth, but they're based in fear. And I feel like this month, I am feeling that there are going to be soul contracts that bring this to the surface. Experiences with, or engagements with other people that are going to be bringing some of this to the surface. But I feel like the goal here is, when you see it and you witness it and you understand, oh, this is someone else's seed, this is someone else's thought, or someone else's wish or expectation of me. I can use it. I don't have to pull it out and throw it away. I can use it, but I just rewrite the story. I change its meaning. I change its intention for that. So, even though this is the deep root, I feel like this is also, there's an invitation for you to see it and to be able to rework it. I keep seeing you, taking this seed, like, let's say it was originally planted in a pot, and now, you're like, okay, well, I see that its intention, when it was originally planted by somebody else into my subconscious, or telling me who they think I am, and I've been operating under that. Well, the seed is grown, the plant is there, and there's nothing wrong with the plant. I just need to repurpose the plant. So I'm gonna replant it into my garden, but I'm, instead of putting it in the vegetables, I'm gonna put it in the flowers. I'm gonna put it by the begonias, because I feel that that's where it's gonna thrive, and that's where it makes sense for me to be able to utilize this. I don't know if that makes sense. I feel like I'm talking a little esoterically, but and whenever that happens, it's like pulling teeth, and it's because there's real meaning behind that. There's your spirit, your angels and guides, and the spirit world really wants you to understand that someone else may have planted the seed with nefarious intentions to cause you harm. But it doesn't necessarily mean that the fundamental thing that was planted is bad. It's that you can make it work for you. And I feel like that's really important. There's an empowerment piece there. What's dying away? What role, pattern, or identity has run its course in your life this month? Interesting. So, Four of Pentacles, stability. So I feel like certain roots, certain things that you have planted or that have been planted, they've grown roots in a certain area. And what I keep seeing here for you guys is an evaluation of whether those roots are meant for you or if they are in the right place. And I don't feel necessarily like you have to pull all the roots up. I feel more like this is a just removing yourself from this tree and going to a different tree, or moving out of, away from this tree and going to a completely different forest. So this idea that you have to grow where you're planted right now. Sometimes there's a time and a place for that. I'm feeling the opposite for you guys, especially if we're talking about that peacock thing that I'm seeing, preening your feathers and strutting your stuff. A peacock strutting its feathers in front of a bunch of trees is not going to have the same effect as a peacock preening its feathers and strutting its stuff in front of a group of people, or in front of a group of other peacocks that are interested in, they're connected to the peacock world, right? So they understand the nuances of it. It makes sense to them. I feel like that's what's coming up here, is this idea that I need to grow where I'm planted. No, you don't. It's time for you to strut your stuff. And in order to do that, you need to go where you're going to be seen. Go where you feel that your energy is going to be best served. I feel like for some of you, there may be a physical component here of relocation. Just waking up one morning and deciding, I've always wanted to live in Florida, and so today's the day. I'm gonna, I've decided I'm gonna, pack up my shit, and I'm heading out in a couple of weeks. I'm gonna say my goodbyes and leave. This could be that, the analogy that's popping into my head is years ago when I was married. I moved into my ex-husband's home with the intention that we were going to purchase our own home. And 7 years later, well, and now it's many years later, he's still in that same home. And it didn't happen. And, that was really stuffy for me, debilitating for me to be in an environment that wasn't my own, right? That I couldn't make my own. So I feel like that's what this is really kind of bringing up to the surface for you at this time. And that's what's dying away, is this idea that you have to stay, where you've put roots down. No, you don't. You built that, and now you're on to something else. Time for something new, and to go where you're going to be seen and heard and felt and appreciated for all that you offer. That feels important. Highest Phoenix potential. What can rise from these ashes? What is your soul calling you toward? This is your breakthrough energy. Interesting. Father of Fire. So King of Wands. Feeling, this is the entrepreneurial card. This is the card of the individual who says, I'm going to beat to the tune of my own drum. I'm going to use my fire, use my passion, use my energy to create something big and amazing and wonderful. And yeah, I might involve other people in the process of it, but ultimately it's mine. And I do have a desire to serve in that capacity, but I am serving, as I am serving others, I am also serving myself. And so I feel like this is coming through for you, because if you do make this move, if you do break away from what has been expected of you or what has been placed by you, or maybe just, this is, you've grown it for a while and now you're ready to move on to the next chapter. If you give yourself permission to do that, I feel like the King of Wands energy is coming through to be able to support you and to say, all right, let's go big or go home. If this isn't a factor anymore and that's not holding you to one place, where do you want to go? How do you want to grow? What do you see for yourself as you're preening your feathers? You've worked hard to preen your feathers. So, where do you want to go that is going to appreciate that, and where you're going to be able to bloom, blossom, and grow in the ways that you want to, right? Because we are clearing space in our lives for more of this to come in. And so this is that highest Phoenix potential. Because this is dying away, you're accepting it, and you're saying, okay, if not this, then, if the sky is the limit, then what can I imagine? What can I envision? what am I going to do? Or let me go beyond the sky and envision what's on the other side of that. And you're going to have support to be able to get through. This is that breakthrough energy. And I feel like this is what you've been waiting for. And it's interesting because nobody else has really been holding you back. You've thought that it's other people, places, and things that have been obstacles getting in the way, but ultimately it's actually been you. So the father of fire is coming through here to say, okay, there's no limit. If I'm the limitation, well then, okay, there's no limit. So then where do I want to go and how do I want to do that? Because the whole world is my oyster. It's just waiting for me to step forward and make it happen. Interesting. What's emerging just around the corner? What energy or experience is coming in to support this next phase for you? Oh, interesting. So knowledge, six. This is interesting. This is six of air. Six of swords. So I love this because typically it's like a card of like moving on to calmer shores, support and grace. And here we have a very technical depiction of this where we're seeing a satellite in the sky, and the satellite is gathering information. It's gathering wisdom, gathering knowledge, and then transmitting it back to you. So I feel like what's emerging for you is, what did I say to you? Like, if the sky is the limit, go beyond the sky. And what can you imagine? What can you envision? Well, here you're beyond the sky. You're in space, and you're going to be receiving. You're going to be, gathering this information and then transmitting it back, right? Transmitting it back. Who are you transmitting it to? What are you transmitting it into? First day with my new tongue. I'm also seeing like a lot of Kundalini energy here. And the idea with Kundalini energy is that your body can be like a storage unit for that energy. When you bring that energy into your body, you store it away for later. And then you've got that energy that you can use and reuse all the time for new creations. I'm feeling a lot of this coming up. So some of you may actually even be having physical Kundalini experiences. And in fact, I would recommend to you this month looking into taking some Kundalini yoga courses, classes, doing some Kundalini breath work, doing some Kundalini meditative work. I feel like that is a really significant and really important to how you are preparing not only the body, but preparing yourself energetically for all of these shifts that you're getting ready to step into in the new year. And December is formulating all of it, right? December is showing you what is available and what is possible. 6 is harmony, balance, and alignment. And I feel like this part is coming up to tell you, hey, here's what we're going to be able to align for you. And here's how you want to prepare for that alignment. That's what's emerging. And it's going to be very exciting for you if you're allowing all of that. I want to say go big or go home. Your role in this shift. How are you navigating this transformation? Are you resisting, flowing, grieving, or boldly rising? Oh, beautiful. So we have a little baby as the Fool. The baby's in the womb, in the egg, with all of these little beings around it. This actually looks more like the World card in the RWS Tarot than it does the Fool card. And I think that's significant because where we end, we begin, right? Endings always lead to new beginnings. And I feel like here, you're actually resisting a little bit, like you're, even the baby's resting on the one arm, but like covering one of the ears. So like one ear open, but one ear closed. I feel almost like you're pretending like you're sleeping, or you're not quite sure that you're ready to actually invest the energy required to do all of this stuff. But I want to say, this is not a time to pretend like it's only going to hurt you in the end. It's only delaying the beginning that has already begun. So Don't delay the momentum, the motivation. Step into it. I want to say, open your eyes. You've already grown. Like, this baby doesn't have a ton of room left in the womb, so it's getting ready, to sort of give birth. And maybe you're just, charging yourself up for, the big birth, the big event. And I don't mean to say to you tisk tisk, but I do feel like, this is comfortable, this is easy, this is effortless effort. And I don't feel like that's what your next phase is calling you into. I mean, effortless effort is a good thing to strive for, of course. I don't mean you have to like go into chaos mode necessarily, but I do feel here that you've arrived at a place where it's comfortable now, and there's no growth in comfort. There's no growth in comfort. And what I see these cards leading you into is growth. It doesn't have to be icky, sticky growth. It doesn't have to be chaotic, or extremely or overly chaotic. I mean, chaos is part of the transformational journey. Chaos is part of the fool's journey, 150%. But you are also protected. You've got all of these other animals around you that are protecting you, these spirits. This feels like you can prolong it, but only for a little bit. And then, the universe is going to give you the big nudge or the big frying pan to the head. And you don't necessarily need that. So I feel like you want to take a little more active role, is kind of how I would put that. So stop resisting, go into flow. Circles of support. Who or what is influencing your transformation right now? And is it positive or negative? Okay. So this is fire. This is wands, 9 of wands, power. Interesting. You've got a lot of support around you. You are the shining light, but you also have a lot of other shining lights around you. And those shining lights, again, you've had a lot of support. You've had a lot of people helping you to put the structure in place and pay attention to the details. So you're good to go. Now it's about, taking what you need and moving ahead, shining your light. I do feel for a lot of you, there's going to be a move. Now, if this isn't a physical move in terms of your living space, or, moving to a new city or a new town or something like that, I feel like there may be a move in your job. There may be a move in your volunteerism. There may even be a shift from one community to another community. And I feel like that's what's going to give you the power. That's what's going to, I want to say, light you up. It lights your fire and floats your boat. But there does need to be an ending. There needs to be a clear cut, sort of walking away from that. And I feel that you're supported in doing that. It doesn't feel like you're walking away and you're, completely on your own. Even this baby isn't on his own. He's got support. You're going to have plenty of support, and you've got plenty of example to follow. In terms of like a structure or a guideline to sort of work towards. But I feel like this is a choice. And it's not necessarily going to be an easy choice. Simple, yes. Easy, maybe not so much. Simple isn't always easy. But I feel like if you choose this, the places you'll go, right? You're thinking beyond the limitations, and you're, maybe even a little bit reinventing the wheel. Nothing wrong with that. This is a time for us to reinvent the wheel, to look at all of the possibilities, not just the possibilities provided in our box of limitation of what we know, of what we are comfortable with. This is, really going outside the box area. And I feel like it's a choice. That's really interesting. Big stuff happening for you guys, for you Leos, this month. It's very interesting. Okay, hopes and fears about changing. What are you dreaming of becoming, and what scares you about actually doing it? Well, it's the death card, so it's the change card. I feel like a lot of you that are watching this right now, you're like nodding in agreement or big resonation to what I'm saying, because you've been feeling a lot of this. You've been actually wanting the shift and the change, but not exactly knowing how to step in, how to get it started, how to say yes to it. Or maybe you just haven't known what it was going to look like. And I feel like when we're talking about that hopes and fears, you want the change. You want to become something new. You're ready to say goodbye to all of this stuff. I drink libations of high vibrations. You have no problems making room for something new. You're just struggling with what the new is going to be. And I feel here that whenever the death card comes up, it's something that we can celebrate, because it is a recognition of, I want to say, maybe a graduation, recognition of the hard work that you've put into something. That you can say, okay, yeah, been there, done that, and bought the t-shirt, and I'm glad I did it. When I started that journey, I was the fool at that time too, and now I'm the master of it. And I'm ready for something new. I'm ready for a new journey. I'm ready for that new fool energy. I just have to get out of my own way, because comfort is nice too. I like the comforts of home. I like the comforts of, knowing, the partner that is, next to me, knowing what to expect, what's going to come out of their mouth next, how they're going to react or respond to something. I like knowing that, I know the same grocery store. And so I know exactly, aisle 6, 3/4 down, I'm going to find the item that I want. All of this is nice and fine and good and wonderful, and it served its purpose for where you were, but it's not serving you now. And I feel like you know this, but you're also a little nervous to accept this, because, you're not wanting to give up the creature comforts. And I'm going to say to you, you'll give them up for a time, but then you're going to find new creature comforts. And that's kind of what this is all about. All right. So if you stay on course, who will you be on the other side of this journey in December? What is the result of embracing the full birth, death, and rebirth cycle? Look at that. So you got the Fool, and you've got the Universe, which is the World card. Wow. So I feel like this month, if you really face this, the comfort, and what does it really mean to give up that comfort, you will have the universe. You will be able to think outside the box, break the barriers, move on to calmer shores, reinvent the wheel in a way that is going to serve you in bigger, broader ways, in the new ways that you have already become, or that you are wanting to become. You're feeling it bubbling under the surface, and it's never going to boil. It's never going to get there if you don't turn it up to 10. If you stay at 6, it's going to stay warm. It's just going to take a lot longer, to develop and meld the flavors and to actually, be ready to eat. So I feel like here in December, there's going to be a lot of internal thought process around how you're going to externalize yourself in the coming year. And December, I feel you're going to be making some very clear decisions around what you are now going to move away from in order to start that new journey. And, this, giving yourself permission to reinvent the wheel, to think outside the box, and to say, where would I like to go next? What would I like to create for myself next? Because I am not beholden to this particular spot or location or position, or role. This is about me becoming the universe. And there are all of these different roles in the universe itself. So I can be all sorts of things. I don't have to just stick to this. This might be comfortable, but it's not expansive. It's not really helping me to take the full advantage of what this life has to offer. And I love that it's the universe, not the world. It's the universe, way bigger than the world. You are way bigger than the world, but you're never going to know it until you actually go out and choose it. Wow. Okay, Leo. So that is your transformational tarot for December. I'm kind of blown away. I feel like I don't recall what comes through in previous months, but I recall you having some struggles, some stuff that you had to kind of get through. This feels like you're kind of at that penultimate, like this is the, like do or die, like this is the time to get this done, because moving forward there's going to be so much more for you to, I want to say, embrace and enjoy, and it's really coming into your own is kind of what I'm feeling. So oh my God, I love this for you. I need to tell you, it is year in preview season and year in transformation season. I'm going to put a link in the description below. If you want a sneak preview of your personal 2026 year, you do not want to miss this service. I pull a card. It's an hour-long service. I pull a card for each month in the year in preview, and tell you what's coming up for you throughout the year. You can record it. You can, take notes and write it down. I've been doing this service now. This is year 10. And people absolutely love it. I do it from December 1st to January 31st, and then it goes away, never to return until the next December. And it is my most popular limited time service out there. So if you are interested in getting this done, click on the link below and book your session now, because it does book up quickly. And then I also do a year in transformation service, which does an even deeper dive into your purpose for the year and how that transformation is going to come about for you in the year. Very, very powerful stuff. Until we see each other again for another episode of Black Feather Couture, Divining a VIP Life, I'm sending you lots of love, lots of support. We'll see you on the flip side, and transform well. Happy holidays. Happy New Year.